Welcome to the Socialite series, where we celebrate and promote women who influence the world. We do this each and every week to bring you information, inspiration, and motivation from socialites who have something to say. I'm your host, Monica Karst. Now let's get this party started. Hello, party people. It's that time, the time where we get to celebrate amazing women on a Tuesday. If you're just tuning in, this is the Socialite series. And if it's your first time, welcome. And if you're coming back, thanks for coming back to us. I'm Monica Karst, and I'm coming to you live from Santa Cruz, California, today with episode number 20, Unshakeable Lasting Love, with guest host Chani Jacobson. So Chani is an internationally recognized relationship coach, helping couples go from potential breakup to lasting love. She helps them identify the root issues and teaches them practical tools they need to get back to good. So Chani, welcome to the show this morning. Let's tell everybody how awesome you are. Come on in.
Hi.
Good morning.
Thank you on the show.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I have to start out by just letting you know, I have heard, and I have not yet met you, and I'm super excited to actually meet you at one point, but I have heard from several different women throughout Santa Cruz on how amazing you are and how you completely changed their lives and their husbands' lives. So rumors are out there. You are doing amazing things. So let's talk about all those amazing things that you are doing. Welcome. Thank you. Good morning. So let's start off with your background. When I was reading through your background and you got the BA in a self-designed major entitled Culture, Psychology, and Creativity through a transpersonal lens. Tell us about that and how you created that and where the idea came from.
Yeah, that's a really cool view into my past, and this is so fun to talk about that journey for me. But so when I first got to college, I was interested in psychology, and I kind of figured, that's where I'll head. I know, maybe I'll be a psychologist, and that was the kind of the path that I was on. But then I ended up transferring to this beautiful little college within that university called Fairhaven College. This is it actually in Bellingham, Washington. And there they focus on interdisciplinary education, and the focus is that you design your own major. And so I think what really struck me was learning about different cultures around the world and how they heal. And my advisor is actually a certified shamanic practitioner. So I she kind of took me under her wing, and I was really curious about, the different ways that people around the world can heal themselves and heal each other. So the title of my self-design major I tried to incorporate a lot of the different things that I learned in my own quest for healing myself. And during that time, I studied 5 rhythms dance and other forms of ecstatic dance, and that was a huge healing journey for me. And other people that were on that journey as well. And, I studied, art therapy, and I studied shamanism, as I said, and cross-cultural perspectives on healing. And it was a really, really potent time for my own personal healing. And I just felt so strongly that I was on a path toward helping others learn how to heal in those ways. And because it wasn't, back then, I would say it wasn't a very mainstream idea to incorporate. Yeah. Yeah. So really it was my own journey that brought me to being interested in all of that, and wanting to kind of head down that path of helping others in sort of these outskirts of healing.
Well, and then from there, you were accepted to the Counseling Somatic Psychology Master's Program. and with what, California Institute of Inaugural Studies, is that correct? But
Integral studies, yeah.
yeah, so then you declined the program. So what? You said you had an intuition to decline the program and then instead be certified in the Heart Math coaching program. What had that transpire? What were you thinking at that point?
That's another really, really great question. It was so funny because my undergraduate work in that self-design major, I really thought I was headed onto that path of being a somatic counseling psychologist. And, I had no doubts in my mind. And then what happened, and this is going to sound funny the way that I say this, is I met my husband, my future husband.
Ah,
and, and it really became clear how much healing I was undergoing from past traumas and just sort of always being an outsider as I perceived myself amongst social groups. When I found my husband, my then boyfriend, all of these things surfaced that I wasn't able to see in myself from my prior healing work in my prior degree. So I think that was a real catalyst for why I had this really, really strong intuition that going through a master's program would not be the best way that I could learn how to help myself or help others. And at that time, I couldn't really put my finger on it, but it was something that it could not be denied. I kept thinking, logically, I got accepted to this amazing program. Logically, this is the path that I'm on, and we had already moved into the Bay Area. But every morning I would wake up and think, gosh, I just don't think this is right for me. And I don't want to disappoint my family. I don't want to seem like I'm, going off and doing something crazy, but I just can't deny that this does not seem right anymore. So I think meeting my future husband played a huge part in awakening some parts of me that needed to be looked at, and that I don't know that would have been accomplished in a master's program. And
right.
So, it was actually a few years later that I then decided to head back toward getting some sort of certification to help others. And that's what brought me to the Heart Math certification, because I'm a really heart-based person, I think, innately. And so I was really drawn to the idea of activating your heart as a way to access more intelligence, more coherence, and decrease stress and anxiety, and kind of create a better world. So that was, at that point, I wasn't so much interested in the relationship coaching. It was more about just sort of reigniting my passion for wanting to serve others in that capacity.
Right. And you didn't think the master's program. And that's a hard thing to do, is us as women who are pleasers, and we have to go with the mold and not to disappoint the family. And this is what you should do versus listening to what we really want to do. So kudos to you for actually listening to your intuition. And another interesting point that you bring up about meeting your now husband and what he presented to you in your life and the message and how you listen to that. And sometimes it's easy for us to walk away thinking that it's the other person making us feel that way, or the other person bringing on the pain and the hardship inside of us, when it's something that we actually need to learn. And it's a gift. And you actually did listen to that and accepted it as a challenge, because look at where it's led you now. So you got married, clearly. At what point did you get your certification? Were you already married, or did you get your certification after you were married?
I got my certification after we got married. And I will say that, as we sort of touched on it, he was definitely bringing up some things in me that needed healing. And I would not say that our relationship was easy at the beginning. We had a lot of ups and downs. And so through that process, I really needed to find a set of tools to end the turmoil and make it so that we could, get through any obstacle peacefully and lovingly and with compassion and kindness. And so it was I would say it took us a few years to really figure that out. Even after we were married, we still had some struggles with that. Even though we knew that we wanted to be together, there were some ways that, my past hurts and his past hurts, they prevented us from communicating well with each other. And, so yeah, it's been an interesting ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super grateful for this process because it has helped me to realize that there is an amazing set of tools that can help any couple that does desire to fix their relationship, that does desire to be together, yet, it seems a little bit of a mystery or hard now.
Well, and I like to bring up the, because I was curious as far as getting your certification before or after, just because you are a heart-centered certified coach in relationships. And, there's the image of, oh, her relationship was already perfect. She knew what to do. It's easy for her. But no, it was not easy for you. You actually discovered and learned these tools because it was a need that you had at that time. Now things are good because you have the tools, but they weren't always easy for you. So that's why I wanted to bring up that point. So thank you for going there. Now, tell us a little bit, what's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite thing to do as far as in your practice? What do you like to do? What's your favorite piece?
In terms of working with my clients?
Yes.
It's really just I'm really, really observant. And so, it's such a passion for me to serve my clients in the way that I can bring to light some of the little ways in which they're reacting to each other, and maybe even that they're not aware of how they're acting or reacting to the other person, and just helping them that come to awareness. It's sort of I never think of it as a mindfulness practice or like an awareness practice, but that really is kind of what it is, because it's really those little ways that we react to each other that can cause kind of a buildup of resentment or, misperceiving a situation or in the way that someone acts. So for me, I really enjoy finding out those little tiny pieces and bringing those to light so that they can work on being more aware of that in their relationship. And it seems like it's small, but it's super transformative because it's a moment to moment practice essentially. So I love to see my clients be able to coach themselves and self-coach their own selves. That's really what it's about for me. I want people to be so emotionally literate and so self-aware of attuning to each other that they can get through anything. And basically, it's about teamwork, staying on each other's team. So for me, that's the biggest joy is when people have those breakthroughs of, oh, wow, like this little tiny thing that I've been doing, either they're misperceiving it in the other person or they're misrepresenting something in themselves to the other person with something so little.
Right. Oh,
I hope that makes sense the way that
absolutely,
I said that.
absolutely. And it actually just makes it more solid on the testimonies that I've received from some of your clients is that you called them out on not actually listening. So being present, but not actually listening to the other party. And when they realized, like, a big light went on and like, wait, you're right. I'm not feeling that way. It's like when we say, oh, how are you? It's like, oh, I'm fine. Well, what does fine mean? Are we fine? Yeah. Are we good? It's like we're kind of just like hushing it and ignoring it when we should be expressing ourselves and actually listening. So you were able to help someone to do that. And that's exactly what you were saying that you love to do, is actually to let that light go on and say, oh my gosh, we're not listening to each other. We're not supporting each other, and we're not on the same team anymore. What happens? And so going into, say you're in a relationship and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. Everybody's fighting. Nothing, you aren't happy. You think it's the end of the world. You want, to get out of the relationship. How do you what's the hope in that? Like, how do you turn that around? Give someone who is in that space of like, they love their partner, but they're just not on the same page anymore. What's the hope in that? Where do you give them hope, and what direction?
Absolutely. Well, part of it is that they do have to realize being committed on their own, because I can't help them necessarily get to the place of wanting to be recommitted to one another. So I think just first off, there has to be a recognition in their relationship that it is something that they do want to work on. So that's kind of the first step. And if they are in that space, then honestly, I like to go first for the kind of the unearthing of some of the deep, long issues that have been going on for the couple. Because so much of the time, as we were talking about before, they haven't been listening to each other in the right ways. And so the unearthing process is really critical to teach them how to communicate better. And from that place, you can then rebuild a culture of appreciation. So that's one of the main things that I like to focus on is once they feel like they have a tool to communicate better with each other and be heard, and then, some of that resentment or some of that angst lessens just in that initial process. And then it's much easier to help them to recall why they fell in love with each other. What is it that they would like to see in their relationship 6 months from now? What does the ideal look like? And it's really just allowing them the chance to voice that happy vision, and really allowing them to connect with that, and then to tell each other, this is why I love you. This is why I want to continue our relationship. And from there, there's practical tools on how to actually achieve that goal. So it's sort of the communication and appreciation is sort of a 1-2 punch, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely does. And so it takes work, just like it takes work where we don't know what's happening of breaking down the relationship. It takes work to be building back up the relationship. Do you give your couples coaching tools as far as homework? Do you give them homework and assignments to like work while you're not, so they see you once a week? How does it work? Are you a 6-week program? They see you once a week. Do you give them something to work on until the next time you see them? What does that look like? What's the coaching process look like?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So every couple is different. They have different unique issues to them, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But so what happens is usually in the first session, we'll sort of unearth. And yes, there might be something akin to homework, but they don't have to write anything down, and there's no tests. There's no quizzes.
We don't like tests. That's enough work to have to work on the relationship.
Exactly. And many of my clients are extremely busy, so it wouldn't be helpful for me to pile on, a whole bunch of homework. But I try to instill in them. I try to instill in them the tools that we go over in the sessions themselves, and I invite them to practice those tools as much as possible throughout the time until we see each other again for another session. So some couples move faster because they're in a different spot. They're not in a much of a dire state, and some couples really do need to take it slower. So it just depends on the couple. But yes, I do invite them to utilize the tools that I teach them in the sessions to really see what's working and what's not. And inevitably, when you practice a tool on your own, it's not gonna go over perfectly to start with. So that will help me to help them, readjust. Like, okay, so how can we tweak this tool a little bit specific to how you guys are dealing with it? So it's a really, the tools are there, and I teach the tools, but it's intuitive and very applicable on an individual couple level. How do we make it work for you? So.
Sure. Okay. That makes total sense, because not one fits all, especially for relationships. That's for sure.
Yes.
What do you think the percentage of men versus women, like, it seems, I'm just throwing it out there, to me, I would think that the women would want to come in more than the men. And how do they get the men to come in? And you can't get someone to come in, but what does that look like? My question's not coming out right, but what I'm trying to ask is, if you're a woman and you want your man to come in to visit with you, do you see that there are more women coming in or more men coming in, and are men resisting or women resisting?
That's a really fascinating question, and I'm going to take a moment to reflect on that. What I see mostly is, again, because people who come to me, usually the couple, both sides of the couple, they want to make it work. So usually what I see is that it's equal. Maybe the woman has heard about it before the man has, but as soon as the man knows, like, I didn't realize maybe that we needed to work on this so intently, they are totally on board. So maybe I'm just lucky.
Yes. Okay. So that's a good thing. Couples. No, that's fascinating. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. No, that's exciting that both, and you have helped all people. You have been from busy entrepreneurs to holistic practitioners, all the way up to a Harvard mathematician. So you have helped the realm of all people. And so that gives you a lot of credibility and experience and knowledge to be able to, so thank you. We celebrate you. Hooray.
Oh, thank you.
Very awesome. Now tell us, can you offer some type of tool for people who are in a good relationship to keep their good relationship? What is something that you would say that we would work on or keep in mind?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. For people who are already in good relationships, I would say spending quality time. And maybe that sounds cliche, but I can't tell you how many folks are super busy and they just kind of get on autopilot about how well things are going. And sometimes it's hard to see when they're missing out on more quality time with each other. Actually, one of the things I teach the majority of my clients is something I like to call heart time. And basically, it can be for people who are extremely busy or people who have a lot of time on their hands. It's for everyone, because you can determine how much time you actually spend doing the heart time per day. But I like to recommend that you do it for a minimum of 5 minutes. If you can do longer, then great. But it's basically a way to check in with your partner, your teammate. This is your partner in life. This is your biggest supporter, your cheerleader, the person that you want to support in life. And together, when you work together and when you're on the same team, life is so much better. Everything works so much more efficiently, especially when you have a family and you're busy and you have so much to take care of. So having this heart time every day is a really beautiful way to ensure that you get that quote unquote quality time. And what it looks like is, I like to call it non-sexual touch because it's so important to sort of to hug each other, to hold hands, to touch each other's shoulders side by side. My husband and I, we like to touch foreheads. He's a lot taller than me, so it works really well for him to kind of just kind of bend over and
right.
And so having a little bit of non-sexual touch and looking in each other's eyes and saying, what can I support you with today? Like, what's your biggest goal for today? Or it's open-ended questions. So not things that are yes and no answers. It's something where you're just sort of opening up a little bit of a conversation, letting your partner know that you're on the same team and that you're their number one fan. And then having a little bit of that touch, because that helps you not only to hear verbally and that they are connected to you and care and support you, but you also get that, that affection, which is so vital to human bonding.
Right.
Affection in any form, releases the bonding hormone oxytocin, and that is vital to our health and the health of our relationships.
Ooh, yes. And you just like made me feel like, okay, we do this with our best friends. We do this with our sisters and our mothers, and it's non-sexual. But when it comes to our partners, you feel like the intimacy has to be sexual when we are so close to our loved ones with, like the best friends and the sisters, and that we do that check-in time, hey, 5 minutes in the morning, what are you doing? How are you? What can I do to support you? What's going on? Blah, that fun social one-on-one time. And if you bring it back into your relationship, how much fun and how simple that seems, but yet we don't do it. So that's an excellent tip. So tell us, where can we find you? Where are you at? Give us your website. What do you have coming up? What classes? I know you have seminars. You're working on something for an online platform that people can look forward to for next year. Tell us all about that stuff.
Great. Yeah. So, well, first off, my website is just ChaniJacobson.com. So, and on there, you can actually find a classes tab, and it links to a couple of different meetups that I have. So I have a meetup in the Santa Cruz area. It's called the Santa Cruz Lasting Love Lab. And I do have a class coming up for that meetup in December. And then I also, I'm in DC right now. My husband is doing a graduate program, so I'm kind of bi-coastal right now. And so I also have a meetup in the DC area. It's called Get Lasting Love. So on my website, ChaniJacobson.com, you can kind of look around and see what's available there, whatever resonates with you. But I do invite you to join the meetups, because that's the best way to kind of be able to see me in person.
Fabulous. And what are they called again? The meetups are Lasting Love Lab? No,
yeah, that's the Santa Cruz version.
Okay.
Yeah, and the links are really clear once you go to the classes tab on my website. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then the DC one is Get Lasting Love. So that's the best way to stay updated on like the live in-person events. And then I do have a relationship mastery program that I'm launching next year. It's a group program. So there are one-on-one sessions built into the program, but it's also much more about getting all of us together as a group and doing some group coaching and going over my top tools. And that should be really, really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And then I also have a little gift for any listeners today.
Fabulous. So everyone loves gifts.
I have this template. It's called Resolve and Reconnect, and it's a really great little step-by-step template on how to kind of navigate some of your crunchier conflicts and begin to have some reconnection and maybe in a possible area of discord in your relationship. And so if you are interested in getting that template, you can email me, and my email is heartcoach@ChaniJacobson.com. And when you do sign up for that, you can just email me and I'll send you the template. You'll also get a super special secret private link to a complimentary Lasting Love discovery call with me, which is a 30-minute session with me over the phone. And if you're resonating with what I have to say and you feel that you do need a next step to kind of resolving some of the conflicts in your relationship, it would be so wonderful to talk with you and you get to share, what your current challenges are, where you want to be in your relationship in 6 months. And then I give you my best recommendation for how to move to that place. So it would be an honor to, it would be an honor to hear from anybody who was able to listen to this, even if you just want to shoot me an email to say hello. But definitely, if you want the template and you are interested in the Lasting Love Discovery call, shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to schedule that with you.
Fantastic. That is very generous of you, and you've offered so much information today. Thank you, Chani, for being on here today and spending the morning with us. And to all of you listening, you can go to her website. We will have it posted on the Santa Cruz Socialites Facebook page, and the classes are under the More tab. I found that. So it's under More, and you'll see the classes, and you can go in DC and Santa Cruz. So thank you again for being on here this morning, to Chani Jacobson of Lasting Love Coaching, to our producer Damian, who sits in the background and takes good care of us, and to you for listening. Don't be shy. Make sure to share, like, and comment on all of our social media platforms. That's a wrap for today's show, and this is Monica Karst reminding you every day is a day to celebrate. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in to the Socialite series. To find out more, visit us at santacruzsocialites.com and monicakarst.com. Until next week, be seen and be heard, and get out and shine your social light on your community.